Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this yoga flow for hip mobility. This flow is perfect for any time of day or any time you're maybe feeling just a little bit tight in your hips. So whenever you're ready, we'll come to sit gently on the knees in a hero's pose, or you can find a comfortable seat. And we'll just begin by maybe shaking the head, rolling the neck. Just taking a few moments here to simply begin to ground yourself down. Observing the breath, relaxing the shoulders, holding the spine nice and long. Deepening the breath here. Inhaling, arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. One more time, inhaling, arms up to the sky. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Taking a moment here, maybe setting an intention for our practice. And we'll inhale, bring the arms up to the sky, and exhaling, we'll twist towards the right here, bringing that left hand behind the body. You can gaze straight ahead or over the shoulder. Again, holding the spine nice and long here. Inhaling, coming back through center, arms back up to the sky. Exhale, twisting to the left. Right hand coming behind the body, gazing either straight ahead or over the shoulder. Breathing deeply. Inhaling, coming back through center, arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. Taking our time, moving on to our hands and knees into our tabletop pose here. Stacking the joints, spreading the fingers out nice and wide. We'll begin to move through some cat-cows. Inhaling, opening up the heart. Exhaling, rounding through the spine. Inhaling for our cow. Exhaling for our cat. Moving this through this flow a few more times here with your own breath at your own pace. Just creating space between the vertebrae here. Finding any comfortable movements. Coming back to our table whenever you're ready. Finding some gentle movements here or stillness. With your next inhale, we're going to bring that right leg up to the sky, bring it parallel to the mat. And we're going to find some little hip circles here, bending that knee, moving the hip in one direction, then moving it in the opposite direction here. Holding yourself center here, pressing down through the fingertips, through the hands. Finding stillness, and we'll extend that right leg back out, bring it parallel to the mat. And this time we'll lift that left hand up off the ground, finding a little bird dog here. Extending that arm nice and long, feeling that spinal balance here. We'll bring that hand back down to the ground here, inhaling. And on our exhale, we'll step that right leg over that bent left leg, finding a little twist, gazing over your shoulder towards the toes. Breathing deeply here, feeling this lengthening sensation. Coming back towards center here, we'll bring that leg back up to the sky. Then we'll step it forward here, coming into our little runner's lunge. And with an inhale, we'll come into a lovely low lunge here. The placement of your hands is optional, just whatever feels most comfortable. You can keep your arms up to the sky, to the hips, or to the top of the quad. Really grounding down here through that front foot, feeling that hip beginning to open here. Breathing deeply. We'll inhale, coming back through that little runners, and exhaling, straightening that leg, coming onto the heel, coming into a half splits here. Adjusting if need be. As always, you can add some blocks here if your hamstring is feeling exceptionally tight today. One more breath here. Inhaling, coming back through that little runners. We'll step that right hand inside of that right foot, coming into this lizard variation here. Staying up on the hands for right now, feeling that nice deep stretch. And we're going to move through a little flow here. So we're going to inhale in our lizard, exhale, finding our half splits, and moving with our breath. We'll repeat this. Inhaling for that lizard, exhaling for our half splits. Inhaling for that lizard, exhaling, half splits. Inhaling for our lizard. And this time, you can either remain up on your hands or maybe come down to the forearms. As always, you can use blocks here. Feel free as well to maybe open up the foot or even step it out a little bit wider. Listening to your body here, just going as deep as is comfortable. Slowly beginning to come up if you were on your forearms, taking a nice deep inhale here. Coming back through our little runners, and then you can step that right foot back to meet the left, coming back into our table. Feel free to find stillness here, or maybe little hip circles, moving side to side, up and down. And then we will move to the other side, lifting the left foot up to the sky here. You can roll the ankle if you'd like, bending that knee. We're going to find those hip circles again. So beginning to move in one direction, and then moving in the opposite direction, opening up that hip, pressing down through the palms, extending that leg back out here, and we're going to move back into that bird dog here. So shifting our weight onto that left hand, bringing that right arm up off the mat, finding this little spinal balance, this bird dog pose. Grounding down here, engaging the belly, extending that arm. Slowly bringing that right hand back down to the mat. We'll step that left leg over that bent right knee, finding our little side body long twist. Gazing towards the toes here, feeling this lengthening sensation. Breathing deeply. Slowly coming back towards center, lifting that left leg back up, inhaling, then exhaling, stepping that foot forward, coming back into our little runners, and then we'll inhale, low lunge. Again, taking your time, settling here, pressing down through the four corners of that front foot. And again, your arms can be up to the sky, to the hips, or to the tops of the quad. Really feeling that deep hip stretch here. You can even find little pulses. Opening up the hip. Inhaling, we'll come back down into that little runners. Exhaling, straightening that left leg, coming onto that left heel, half splits. Again, you're more than welcome to use blocks here if this hamstring is feeling exceptionally tight. Reminding yourself to engage your toes here, helping to protect the knee. Inhaling, coming into our little runners, stepping that left hand inside of the left foot, coming into our lizard variation here. Remaining on the hands, just feeling that stretch here before we move into our little flow. So whenever you're ready, inhaling in our lizard, exhaling, half splits. Inhaling to our lizard, exhaling, half splits. Inhaling lizard, Exhaling, half splits. Inhaling, lizard. And this time you can step that foot out a little bit wider if you would like. And then you can come to rest on the forearms, or you can remain on your hands. Feel free to rotate onto the outer blade of your foot if that is something that would benefit you today. As always, listening to your body. Slowly coming up here. Inhaling. And then we'll exhale, stepping that foot back into our table. And again, you can take a moment here to shake it off. Very nice. Inhaling in our table. Exhale, tucking the toes, lifting the knees, downward dog. You can pedal out the feet here if you'd like, or you can just find stillness. Whenever you're ready, we'll inhale, right leg up to the sky. We'll bend that knee, and we're going to find those hip circles here again. Engaging the belly, moving in one direction and then the other. Opening up the hip. Inhaling, exhaling, stepping forward into our runners. Moving that back foot 45 degrees. Inhaling to rise, warrior one. Bring the arms up to the sky here, pressing down through those feet. Inhaling here. On our exhale, we'll bring our hands to our hips, straightening that front leg, turning on the front heel, coming to stand in a wide leg position here. You can adjust if needed. We'll inhale, then exhale, hinging from the hips here. You can bring just the hands to the mat. You can bring the forearms to the mat. As always, listening to your body, feeling the stretch in the inner thigh. You can even bend the knees alternatingly here if you'd like. And then we're going to walk our hands towards the back of the mat here. So we're going to be framing our left foot, coming into our runners, inhaling here, exhale, downward dog. Breathing here. We're going to inhale, left leg up to the sky, finding those hip circles again, moving it in one direction. Opening up the hip here as well if you'd like. Again, as always, just doing whatever feels best. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, stepping that foot forward into our runners. Pivoting that foot, 45 degrees. Inhaling to rise, warrior one. Grounding down through those standing feet. Inhaling here. And then exhale, we'll bring our hands to our hips, pivoting on that left heel, straightening that leg, coming to face the length of our mat one more time, adjusting your feet if need be. Inhaling to lengthen the spine, exhale, hinging from the hips. Again, finding whichever variation. You can move your weight from side to side. You can find stillness, or you can extend your arms further in front of you, finding a little downward dog variation. As always, just doing whatever feels best here. Walking our hands back towards the front of the mat, pivoting that right foot, coming through our runner's lunge, inhaling here. Exhale, downward dog. You can pedal out your feet for a moment here. Maybe rolling the ankles. Or as always, you can find stillness. We'll inhale, right leg up to the sky, three-legged dog. Exhale. We're going to move forward into a pigeon pose. You can do this in one fluid movement or however feels best for your body. Adjusting your foot here as needed. Making sure that back leg is nice and straight. And then you can either remain up on your hands or you can fold forward onto the forearms. Feeling this nice deep hip stretch. If you ever feel any pinching or pain here, slowly coming out of the pose until that sensation dissipates. One more breath here. Slowly coming back up onto the hands. Pressing through those palms, tucking the toes, lifting that back knee. We'll step our leg up to the sky here into a three-legged dog. Inhaling here. Then exhale, we're going to come into a wild thing, stepping that right leg over the left, finding this small little back bend here. Nice and strong. Coming back through center, back to our three-legged dog, and then we'll come back into our downward dog here. Pedaling out the feet again or finding that stillness. Other side, inhaling left leg up to the sky, three-legged dog. Exhale back into our pigeon here, making sure that right leg is nice and straight. Finding that comfortable angle for your left leg. And then you can either remain up on the hands, or you can come onto the forearms, or even resting your head on your hands here. Finding whatever feels best, feeling that nice stretch. Breathing deeply. Maybe with every exhale, moving just a little bit deeper here. We'll slowly begin to come back up onto the hands. Tucking the back toe, lifting that back knee. Stepping that left foot back up to the sky through our three-legged dog. Inhaling here. On our exhale, we'll step that left foot back behind us, finding our wild thing here. Finding our little back bends. Then we'll inhale, coming back through our three-legged dog. And then exhale back into our downward dog. Again, you can pedal the feet or finding stillness here. Taking a few nice deep breaths. Grounding down. Finding that foundation. Whenever you're ready, we'll walk to the top of the mat here. We'll inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise, upward salute, arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. You can take a moment here to shake it out. We're going to be moving through some balancing poses here. I'm going to give you two options depending on what you're feeling today. So whenever you're ready, we're all going to start by coming into a tree pose. So you can either bring the right toes to the mat, the right foot to the side of the shin, or to the inner thigh. Making sure here that that hip is nice and open. This is our first option. If you would like a little bit of a challenge here, we're going to be doing a little hand-toe balance. So whenever you're ready, if you'd like to try that variation, you'll bring that knee into a little flamingo, keeping it more centered, reaching for that big toe with your fingers, and then extending that leg out to the side, opening up that hip. Whichever variation you choose to try here, reminding yourself, focusing on opening up that hip. We'll all take one more breath here. Then we'll release that foot, coming back onto both feet. You can shake it off here. Rolling the ankles if you need, the wrists. Moving to the other side. We'll bring our hands back towards heart center, shifting the weight onto the left foot this time. Either bringing the right toes to the mat, the right foot to the side of the left shin, or all the way up to the inner thigh. Again, focusing on opening up that hip here. Grounding down through that standing foot. And again, you're more than welcome to remain here, or if you'd like that challenge, we'll bring that knee more forwards, coming through a flamingo, reaching for that big toe with our fingers, and then opening up that leg nice and straight towards the side here. listening to your body, doing whatever feels best here. If you wobble or if you fall, it is all right. Smiling it off. Grounding down here through that standing foot. We'll all take one more breath. And then we'll slowly release the foot, shaking it off. Very, very nice. All right, we'll bring our hands back towards heart center. We're going to step our feet about mat width distance apart. Our feet at about a 45-degree angle. We're going to come into a malasana. So we're going to inhale here and then exhale. We're going to bend the knees, coming into our little yogi squat here. Feel free to find some dynamic movement here, shifting your weight from side to side. If your heels aren't touching the mat this morning, that is all right. And also feel free to adjust your width here. You can either maybe go a little bit wider or a little bit closer together, listening to your body, finding that comfortable place here. Breathing deeply. One more breath. And then from here, we're going to gently make our way onto the ground here. You can move through a hero's pose, making your way into a nice little comfortable seat. Finding your way here the best way as possible for you. You can take a breath and then we'll extend the legs out long into a staff pose. You can take a moment here to point, flex your feet. Then we're going to bring that right knee into our chest. And we're going to cradle the baby here. So essentially you're going to bring that right foot into the crook of your left elbow. And you can find a gentle little rock here. Feel free to adjust as needed. Maybe you find that maybe you need to bring your heel onto that crook of your arm. Just finding whatever works best for you. We'll release that foot down onto the ground, moving back into our staff. Taking a deep breath here. And then moving to the other side, bending that left leg. And then again, cradling the baby. So again, you can bring that left foot into the crook of the arm, or you can bring the heel there as well. You might notice that maybe this side is a little more open or a little bit more tight. Adjusting as needed. Finding that gentle rock. One more breath. And then releasing that left foot down to the mat and extending it out long, coming into our staff. From here, we're going to open the legs out nice and wide, coming into a wide leg straddle here. You can turn sideways on your mat if you'd like your heels to have a little bit more cushion here, engaging the toes. You can take a moment to settle here, letting those muscles get used to this position. And whenever you're ready, we'll inhale, extending, lengthening the spine, then exhale, hinging from the hips. So here you can either reach for the toes, you can bring your forearms down to the mat, you can bring your hands down to the mat. This is also another great place to use blocks or a blanket if maybe your hips or your inner thighs are feeling really tight. Keeping those toes engaged. You can also add dynamic movements here, maybe walking the hands from foot to foot. Really making this pose your own. With every exhale, maybe going a little bit deeper. And then whenever you're ready, we'll walk those hands back towards the body, coming back up into our seats. And then we're going to bring those soles of the feet together, coming into a butterfly pose here. Taking a deep breath. You can lengthen the spine here. You can remain here, nice and tall, or feel free to add another little forward fold here. Opening up the hips one little last time. Breathing here, finding a comfortable edge. One more breath here. Slowly coming back up. And we'll move our legs to find our way into a comfortable seat here to finish off our practice. Taking this moment here to really notice how the body feels. Taking note of the intention that you might have set at the beginning of our practice here. And offering yourself gratitude for taking the time to focus here on yourself and to simply be present on the mat. We'll inhale, bringing the arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. One more time. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. Vowing to ourselves here to always be kind, both to others, but most importantly, to ourselves. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I hope to see you back on the mat again soon. Namaste.